It's been said that Bigfoot exhibits nocturnal behavior, perhaps to hunt or to avoid detection.
Just now, a Bigfoot researcher announced, "We finally found him." The excitement is off the charts, with 676 sightings in Washington state and another 445 in California.
I knew exactly what we had on camera. It was proof to me and my dad, because who on a Tuesday night is a mile and a half into the woods running around with no flashlight?
Across the U.S., over 10,000 encounters have been recorded, making this one of the most pursued mysteries in the wild. Are we about to expose the truth behind these countless sightings? Tune in as we dive into the heart of the forest to uncover the reality of Bigfoot. Tracking Bigfoot across America. Many people claim they've seen Bigfoot, and now everyone is excitedly talking about it. In Washington state alone, there have been 676 sightings, and California follows closely with 445. These aren't just spooky campfire stories. More than 10,000 sightings have been reported across the United States. As the talk grew louder, a worn-out map was spread on the table, showing not just random spots but a clear path leading deep into the Cascade Mountains. The creature is famous for being hard to spot, and this has made outdoor lovers curious about it for many years.
Aside from finding a dead Bigfoot, is to obtain that kind of physical evidence, or at least from the DNA sequencing, or perhaps from...
Nature is fascinating, whether it's fierce animals like lions and tigers, or the peaceful beauty of rolling hills and high mountains. But it's the mysteries hidden in the wilderness that really make our imaginations run wild, sparking stories of amazing creatures. For hundreds of years, people have been enchanted by stories of mythical creatures roaming the earth. Think of unicorns, mermaids, or dragons. These creatures have filled our stories and even our dreams. But as the world has modernized, these creatures seem to have faded away, as if they disappeared the deeper we explored their supposed habitats. But even though the world has changed, stories of these creatures haven't gone away, especially in the United States. Described as a large, hairy creature with human-like features, it is said to live in the deep forests of North America. Its story has been part of North American folklore for many years, fascinating people in both the United States and Canada. Its mysterious presence has made it a cultural icon, though many still doubt it exists. The evidence often seems weak or uncertain, leading to constant debate. But this isn't the strangest part. Some people are still determined to prove that the creature is more than just a myth. Take Tony Harris, for example. He's the lively host of a show called The Proof Is Out There, and he's obsessed with mysteries, especially ones that are paranormal or supernatural. He's always on the lookout for new clues to help explain these long-standing legends.
And it was two syllables. It was kind of like this, but so much lower than that.
Tony and his team don't give up easily. They travel across North America's wide, untamed wilderness, searching for solid proof. Their journey takes them into dark forests and remote places most people would avoid. Every piece of evidence they find and every story they hear makes the legend even more interesting. As Tony and his team dug deeper into their search, they came across people who had spent years looking for it. These experts and fans were eager to share what they had found. Anything from blurry videos to detailed stories of close encounters. Most of the evidence, like odd footprints and strands of hair, was often dismissed, but to them it was a sign that it might be real. The journey was far from easy. Tony and his group faced tough challenges like thick forests and rough terrain, making their search difficult. But the excitement of possibly finding out the truth kept them going. Every trip seemed to bring new discoveries, but it also left them with more questions than answers. During his quest, Tony met Stacy Brown Jr., a passionate investigator and filmmaker from Crawfordville, Florida. Stacy's love for exploring the unknown started with his dad. The two shared a deep bond, spending nights in the woods searching for mysteries like UFOs and the creature. These adventures not only fueled Stacy's curiosity, but also strengthened the connection he had with his dad. The day was ending, but Stacy's adventure was just beginning, exposing the forest's secret. One day, Stacy's dad called him out of the blue, suggesting they head into the woods that very evening. These spontaneous trips sparked Stacy's interest even more. Growing up in a small town filled with stories of strange creatures only added to his fascination. But little did Stacy know that one event in the woods would change his life forever. Out in the wilderness, Stacy felt a deep connection with nature, something he never felt while living in the city. Being in the wild gave him a set of unique skills and a strong sense of intuition, which he believed would help him in his search for it. But no amount of experience could have prepared him for the terrifying event that he and his dad faced in the summer of 2012. That night, Stacy kept his cool, even though he had left his dad's brand new thermal camera behind. If he had brought it, maybe he would have sensed just how scared his dad was when the camera suddenly stopped working. In that tense moment, his dad, who had been an Army Ranger, did something unexpected. He asked Stacy if he had a weapon, a question he had never asked before. The fear in his dad's voice made Stacy's skin crawl. Even though they were shaken, Stacy and his dad made it back to their truck safely. Their curiosity about what they had experienced was stronger than their fear. Later, when they reviewed the thermal footage, they noticed something strange. It hinted that they may have come face to face with it. Stacy was so shaken by the discovery that he was determined to go back.
Full-blown panic mode. The camera goes dead. He's like, we gotta go, we gotta go. He's like, do you got your gun?
We have to return, he insisted, driven by the need to find out more about what they had encountered. That day might have looked ordinary to most, but for Stacy and his dad, it was unforgettable. On a cold morning, they ventured into the woods with just a camera, eager to spot something uncommon. They headed into a forest famous for its sightings. As they walked further, the thick fog and tall trees dimmed the sunlight, making it feel like dusk. Suddenly, they noticed movement in the shadows. Nervously, they took a photo of what seemed to be it. The forest, shrouded in mystery, was a hot spot for adventurers and myth chasers. Stories had circulated for years, drawing curious individuals from all over. According to locals, it was often spotted along the creek that ran through the heart of the woods, where footprints had been found in the mud. That morning, the air was crisp, and the only sounds were the crunch of leaves underfoot and the distant call of birds. The deeper they went, the more isolated they felt, surrounded by the ancient moss-covered trees. Stacy and his dad had heard tales from the town's old-timers, speaking of eerie howls and fleeting glimpses of the creature during dawn or dusk. Armed with just a camera, their goal was to capture photographic evidence, something more concrete than just stories. The sighting happened quickly. A large, shadowy figure moved silently across their path. It was covered in thick fur, walking upright, and then vanished into the thickets. With hearts pounding, they approached the area where they saw the figure. They found large, unusual footprints on the soft forest floor, adding excitement and a bit of fear to their quest. They took photos of the footprints, comparing them to the size of their own shoes. The prints were much larger and had a distinctive shape that was unlike any animal native to the region. With fresh clues in hand, Stacy and his dad couldn't guess what was next. The thrilling search for a legend. After capturing what they came for, they made their way back to civilization. The encounter left them exhilarated and a bit uneasy, realizing they had just experienced something extraordinary. They planned to share their findings with the local Bigfoot research group and on online forums, hoping to add to the ongoing mystery and perhaps get validation of their encounter. The day ended with more questions than answers, but for Stacy and his dad, it was a thrilling adventure that brought them closer to nature and to each other. They knew they'd return to the woods soon, drawn back by the allure of the unknown and the hope of another encounter with the elusive creature. Stacy's heart was racing with excitement, but his dad was a bit more cautious. "Maybe we should head back," his dad said, a hint of worry in his voice. But Stacy couldn't shake the feeling that they had discovered something incredible.
Very big, tall, hair-covered thing. Standing out there, growling at me.
He wanted to keep going, convinced that the creature was real and might be close by, just waiting for someone to find it again. Tony and his team continued their adventure into the deep, thick woods, hoping to find more proof. When Stacy and his dad finally returned home, Stacy showed me the video they had captured. He still couldn't believe they had even thought about leaving after what they saw. His dad, though, didn't say much. He just told Stacy, If you really want to know more, you might have to go back on your own, making it clear he wasn't eager to return. Stacy felt torn. The idea of going back alone made him nervous, but he also didn't want to give up on what they had found. So he decided to reach out to Cliff Barackman, a well-known Bigfoot expert. Cliff was fascinated by their story and wanted to investigate further, but Stacy and his dad weren't ready to dive back into the unknown just yet. They felt they needed to be better prepared before taking on such a risky adventure. But the delay didn't stop Cliff. With his experience and fearless attitude, he began planning a trip to the forest to gather more evidence. Stacy felt both relieved and excited. He knew this was a bigger task than he and his dad could handle alone, and having an expert take charge was a huge weight off his shoulders. Still, this wasn't the last time someone would stumble upon something strange in those woods. That same year, in the summer of 2019, Doug Teague had his own surprising run-in with the unknown. Even though many people didn't believe Stacy's footage,
big thorny thickets of stuff, and I mean, Sasquatches probably like it. There's a lot of food in here. They can hunker down in the middle of it and they're not going to be bothered by anything, but I don't particularly like it.
he and his dad stood by it as real proof of the creature's existence. Doug's experience happened in a very similar way. He was out for a casual walk near his home in Hickory, North Carolina, with his dog Daisy. The peaceful walk took a turn when Doug suddenly saw a huge, shadowy figure. He quickly pulled out his phone and filmed it, capturing what he believed to be the creature. Feeling nervous from what had just happened, Doug tried his best to stay calm and quickly left the area with Daisy by his side. Once they were back home, Doug took a few moments to relax before he began sharing what had happened. He described the creature he saw as large, dark, and with a shiny silver glow. It was about the size of an 8-foot gorilla. Doug's description matched the figure in the video he had taken, although the video was so blurry that it was hard to make out much detail. The question of what the creature really was still had people guessing. After the sighting, they were about to learn they weren't the only ones with a story, a century-old creature. Doug mentioned that the creature seemed very active just before he started filming. At first, he ignored the knocking sounds nearby, thinking they might be from a woodpecker. But things got serious when a rock was suddenly thrown at him, something that's often reported in stories of such encounters. This, along with his video, added to the growing number of stories about the creature, though solid proof was still missing. Things got even more intense after the rock was thrown. As Doug was walking down a hill, he was startled by loud grunting noises. He wasn't sure, but he thought it could have been made by the creature people in the area often whispered about. This made him more careful as he continued his walk through the forest. But convincing experts like Cliff Barackman wouldn't be easy. In the forests of North Carolina, Cliff, who has a lot of experience researching such creatures, knew that while sightings weren't rare, going all the way back to the 1800s, actual proof was very hard to find. This whole experience reminded Doug of similar stories shared by another researcher, Ken Gard, who had heard about a creature known as Nye. These sightings had happened near the same place where Doug had his own strange encounter. This made Doug's story even more interesting because it fit into a larger history of sightings in the area. Curious and determined to find out the truth, Doug decided to set up recording equipment in the woods, hoping to catch more signs of the creature. His hard work eventually paid off. After some time, he not only recorded more video, but also found footprints in the soft ground during a warm summer day. He made casts of the prints, believing they belonged to the creature. These new discoveries brought more attention to the ongoing debate, forcing the research team to rethink what they thought they knew as they continued to investigate.
Finally, look at the double ball of the foot. That is not a human characteristic. That's found in quite a few of the footprints as an adaptation to the weight and to the terrain through which they walk.
Cliff was excited about what Doug had found in the woods. He was eager to compare the new set of footprints Doug had discovered with another set they already knew was real. To his surprise, they looked very much alike. This new clue took their investigation in a new and unexpected direction. Tony, another member of the team, approached the discovery more carefully. While he thought Doug's video was a bit unclear, the footprints caught his attention. However, he reminded the team to stay cautious because, in the past, people had made fake footprints just to trick others. But this wasn't the end of their search. The team, motivated by what they found, reached out to Kathy Strain, a respected expert on mysterious creatures. They hoped she could give them more insight into what they had uncovered and possibly confirm that something strange was indeed living in the forest. Kathy, an experienced anthropologist, was surprised by how real the footprint cast looked. The details of the toes made her think that these might actually belong to something big that lived in the woods. She was convinced that Doug's discovery was authentic. However, not everyone was on the same page. Lucy Eckersley, the team's wildlife biologist, was more doubtful. She noticed that the footprints were spaced about 6 feet apart, suggesting a large creature. Still, Lucy insisted that they needed more solid evidence before jumping to conclusions. As they continued their search deeper into the thick forest, their challenges only grew. They carefully studied every clue they found. Each new piece of evidence brought them deeper into the mysteries of the woods, making the peaceful surroundings seem full of hidden stories. Even the smallest sounds, like a rustle in the bushes, made them more alert, as if the forest itself was watching them. As they went deeper, the team faced new questions about what lurked in the woods, the quest for the unknown creature. The difference of opinion between Kathy and Lucy added a kind of useful tension to the group. Kathy was eager to believe that the large creature was real based on the footprints, while Lucy's demand for more proof kept them focused on the science. This balance between hope and skepticism pushed them to take a closer look at every piece of evidence, making sure they didn't get carried away too quickly. As the search continued, they found more footprints and signs of movement in the woods. This raised new questions about what impact such a creature could have on the environment. Each new discovery made their adventure even more fascinating, turning their investigation into a deeper exploration of the unknown. But now it wasn't just about proving if the creature existed or not. They were also learning more about the forest itself, where every leaf and every shadow could be hiding something special. The size of the footprints suggested the creature might be as tall as 15 feet, based on how far apart the steps were. Even though Doug's video wasn't clear enough to tell exactly how big the creature was, the huge footprints added another layer of mystery to their journey through the woods. During a team meeting, Lucy noticed something odd in Doug's video. She pointed out that Daisy, Doug's usually energetic dog, was acting unusually quiet. Typically, if a large, unfamiliar animal was nearby, a dog would bark or show some signs of stress. But Daisy remained calm, which made everyone wonder, was the creature in the video really the creature they were searching for, or something more ordinary like a bear?
This is really weird. Every time we flash our lights on it, the rocks start to fall from the ravine again.
Things got more confusing when Doug mentioned that the creature had thrown rocks at him. Bears don't do that. They simply don't have the ability to throw. The creature was hunched over and covered in thick fur, which fit that description. But that theory didn't last long, since silverback gorillas don't live anywhere near where the video was shot. This only made the situation more mysterious. The group didn't stop there. They started wondering if the creature could be something completely unknown to science. The fact that Daisy didn't react with fear hinted that the creature's scent was unfamiliar, but not threatening to her. Maybe someone was in a costume, trying to fool them. This wouldn't be the first time someone had tried to stage a fake sighting of the creature. Even after watching the video several times, Doug, Kate, and Lucy couldn't agree on whether they had found something real or just fallen for a prank. But that wasn't the worst part. Despite the growing doubts, the team didn't lose their determination. Instead, it pushed them even harder to find undeniable proof, even if it meant starting their search all over again. Some team members were feeling a little discouraged, hoping they would find something real. But the possibility that the figure in the video could still be the legendary creature kept their spirits high. Doug and Kate remained hopeful that their footage might be the real thing. As time went on, they believed more evidence would come to light. The team stayed focused, following every new lead and keeping their curiosity and optimism alive.
We did catch something on the thermal, and it was the strangest thing. The thermal hit.
They were determined to keep investigating, always ready for the next clue that could bring them closer to the truth. Their search continued, fueled by the hope that one day they would finally find the answers they were looking for. The mystery kept them going, eager to explore every possibility and reveal what truly lies behind their strange discovery. Do you think Doug and Kate will ever find the answers they're searching for? Leave your thoughts below. Like and subscribe for more.